legend goes, Archimedes was killed by a Roman soldier while doing calculations in his sand tray. And the Roman soldier came in and they wanted to take him as a prisoner, and Archimedes says, "Wait, let me finish my calculations." And the soldier was tired and didn't want to mess with it, so he ran him through. That's what the legend says, or that's the legend that I found. It's also a legend that he liked to work on different ways of drawing the perfect circle, and he came up with some pretty interesting ways, tools and things that help you draw a perfect circle. But measuring the perfect circle and measuring a circumference was challenging. The way we do it today is mostly calculation. You measure the diameter and then you calculate it because of what Archimedes discovered, that the ratio of the circumference to the diameter. But he used polygons to estimate the circumference of a circle, and hexagons and things like that. More on that in another video. Legend also has it that he was tasked with figuring out if a gift that was given to the king was actually made of solid gold, and it was a wreath that looked like olive branches, and measuring its volume was difficult, and he figured it out. And when he figured it out, legend has it, is that he ran naked through the streets shouting, "Eureka, Eureka, I've got it, I've got it." And that's one of the funny stories about Archimedes that always got my kids intrigued. They're like, "He did what? He ran naked through the streets?" Oh, yeah, well, he lived BC, so who knows what actually happened. But that's the legend. The rules for this competition are simple. Absolutely no tool other than your pencil can be used. You can't fold the paper, you can't do the mechanical pencil trick, which I'll show you. It's actually a really great way to draw a perfect circle, but it's not. Not allowed in this competition. The circle that each student enters into the competition must be drawn during their hour in class. They can't bring it from outside of class. The circle must fit on the paper given to them in class. So I always gave printer paper that was 8.5 by 11 because it made the circles much more manageable in size. They didn't get so big that it was difficult to measure them. And they had to be at least 2 inches in diameter, also for ease of measurement, but also for challenge. It's easier to draw tiny circles that look perfect than it is to draw a circle and 2 inches is approximately the distance of the length of your pinky. So I'd say, well, if you're not sure, put your pinky across it and see if it's bigger or wider than your pinky. I did allow sketching and erasing, so it didn't have to be one straight line. They could sketch it, and if they thought one side was a little lopsided, they could erase it and reform it and do all of that. But no other, like they couldn't have a circle underneath it, trying to see if it matched it. No tracing, it was just eye and pencil. I also allowed them to draw more than one circle on the paper that I gave them. But the official circle, the one that they wanted me to judge, had to be marked. So I would not judge more than one of their circles. They had to pick one and have me judge that one. It had to be marked on their paper, and I also had them put their name and their team name, and later video I'll explain about the teams. But they had to put their name and their team name on it because I would get a stack of these circles that I would have to judge. And if I didn't know whose it was, I wasn't going to go around and try and find out it. So I would just look at it and be like, oh, there's no name. And I would set it aside and not even judge it, because you will get so many circles, it takes a while to do the judging. And the kids love to watch the judging. So I would often do it underneath my document camera so they could see. Over the years, I got better and better at judging these circles because, again, it is quite challenging. And here's the way I ended up organizing it. There were 3 tiers. Tier 1, I went through the stack and I took out all the ones that qualified, meaning they had the name, the team name, and the circle marked that they wanted me to judge. and I made sure that it was at least 2 inches. And on my compass, I always had a ruler, so I would just look at ones that were close and be like, okay, that one qualifies, and I'd put them in a stack. Any that didn't qualify get put off to the side. Then I would go back through that stack, and those made it through tier 1, so now they're in tier 2. And I would use this compass, this very compass right here, and a neon colored pen or a brightly colored pen, like a bright red pen or a highlighter that had a fine tip on it. And I would draw a circle as close to their circle as I possibly could. So I would try and center this in the middle of it, and then I would pick one of these holes that would be close to the outside. Sometimes I would draw a circle on the outside of it and then a circle on the inside of it. And as soon as you do that, you can see the crooked parts of their circle much better. So our brains like to smooth things out visually. So if you see it by itself, it may look like it's absolutely perfect until you put it up next to something to compare it to, and then you can see when it's slightly egg-shaped or it's kind of flat on one side. From that, I would lay them all out, and I would look at them and I'd be like, okay, this one's better than that one, so I would move that one out. This one's better than that one, so I'd move the other ones out. I'd work it down to the top 3, and from those, I would judge which one I thought was the best, was closest to the circles that I drew, and ones that I thought were not. And I would label them first, second, and third, and their team would get those points respectively. The first place one, however, would move on to third tier. And third tier is where I took the first place in each one of my classes and I compared all of the first place ones to get a first place overall. At my school, I was the only 7th grade teacher, so I had all 7th graders, so I could do a judge of overall. At my other school, we would compare respectively between the 3 of us, who each one of us had parts of the grade level. And it's all a judgment on my part. So if the kids wanted to argue, they could, but I would always stick by my judgment. I'd always look at it and be like, nope, this one is closer along here. There's more of the circle that's exactly on a circle line. Or I would just say, well, that's the way I've judged it. Because otherwise, as you know, as a middle school teacher, middle schoolers love to argue with you. So I would shut that down pretty quickly. I'm the judge in this one, and it's my decision. Thank you for your input. I would love to know if you try this in your classes. Please let me know if you do. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have fun in your math classes.